Shalom and welcome to 2 Minutes of Torah. This year is entitled, Why They Hate Us, Antisemitism Part 1. We had a war a few months ago here in Israel. The Hamas in Gaza launching rockets indiscriminately and against all populations in Israel. They struck pretty far south, middle of the country, and north as well. And so Baruch Hashem, the Iron Dome system, with Israel's wonderful technology, the help of America, and of course Yata Deshmaya, did a wonderful job of stopping many of the rockets. And Baruch Hashem, the casualties were few, but people, of course, were killed in the war. And we went in, had to do a ground mission as well, as often is the case, as effective as airstrikes are. Going into the ground is just different. We lost a lot of our wonderful, precious boys, and there were many casualties on the Gaza side as well. What was amazing is the UN, of course, condemned us and is in the middle of an inquiry. And it just seems so absurd. And the question is, we see day after day, week after week, that the hatred around the world and in the UN, which represents the world, towards Israel, towards the Jewish nation. And the obvious question is, what is the source of all this hatred? Is there something that we could point our finger to? It seems like other countries do things like we do, and no one says a word. They understand we have the right, that there's a right of self-defense. It comes to Israel, it's just different. And this is a question not just in Israel, the modern state, but of Jews the past few thousand years. It seems to be that there's a hatred towards the Jewish people. So anyway, we can understand it. So it's a very big topic. And this is just part one of several shiurim on the topic. So one may say that, listen, people are just jealous of the Jews. Look what happened to the Jewish people. Wherever you put them, they seem to somehow succeed. Let's just take one small example. America, people land in the east side, Ellis Island, the early 1900s. Many people living in one little apartment together on the Lower East Side. Come in to Houston. That was another major place in the southern area of the States. People came in there as well, the Jews. And in the beginning, they cannot find jobs. They find a job, then every Shabbat, if they don't show up, they're fired. And they're struggling just to get by and put bread on the table. It's just a question of years before somehow the Jews are getting a little bit wealthier. They're somehow managing to get away to bungalow colonies. A few years later already, in the early 1900s, the 30s, the 40s, they're already going into the hotels. And you have the Borscht Belt in America. In the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, with just hundreds of hotels where the Jews are really making it financially in the society. Then the hotels all died because the Jews have their own homes upstate, or they go to Acapulco and Arizona and other places, and they've outgrown the Borscht Belt. It's just an example how the Jews just somehow land, and within a matter of decades, financial leaders in society. So one may say it's just jealousy of the Jews' success. It's an interesting answer, but it really doesn't work, because other communities have succeeded as well. The Asians have done a wonderful job. The Koreans in New York, in many ways, have done very, very well in the States, in the math and other areas. And you just don't have that same anti-Semitism. So it might be appealing to just say it's simple jealousy, but it really doesn't work. You could just look through history, other people that have come and in society and made and produced, and you just don't find the wrath of the nation, of the world, against that group. So simple jealousy does not seem to be an answer. We have to explore other options, try to make some sense of the phenomenon. Obviously, Chazal put this in very succinct terms called Esav Sonei Yaakov. I mean, it's Hashem and Shir. The second shir in the series, we're going to try to analyze and make some sense of what this concept is of Esav Sonei Yaakov. Shalom.